Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are checking out one of the single most impressive dinosaur figures I have ever seen in my entire life. This is the 1/20th scale Edel Collectibles Indominus Rex, aka the hybrid, which is what they are calling it for obvious reasons. But we have ourselves an amazing looking, again, an absolutely huge Indominus Rex here being 1/20th scale. That's exactly what you would expect. You would expect a massive size, and yet again, just like I have been in the past, I am blown away by how good the sculpt is here by Edel, as well as the really nice paint, and something that is actually on this one that was also on the Pocketsaurus version that I had taken a look at recently. But it's actually a little bit nicer is that it has kind of a greenish tint to it. And I really like that because it honestly makes it feel like it is somewhat camouflaged. It reminds me so much of the moment in Jurassic World when it comes out of the forest and it was obviously camouflaged and it's like right in the midst of, showing its true color. I really feel like that's a strong representation of that here with this version from Edel. And you can see that we have articulation galore, and we also have quills on it, which is super exciting. So, without further ado, let's jump straight to a closer look at this massive beast right now. So this is definitely one very sizable model, I can tell you that much. So it's a little hard to move it around here in my review area. Definitely, again, a complicated one just because it's so huge. But you can see as far as the head sculpt goes, that is phenomenal. When it comes to capturing the likeness of the Indominus Rex, I really don't know that it gets much better than that. That sculpt is incredible looking. You can see really nice looking scale detail all throughout the head sculpt. And you can definitely see now up close the greenish tones that I was talking about, as we have definitely some grays, some kind of like yellowish tones. We've got whites and we've got some greens as well. So quite a bit of coloration going on here in the face of our Indominus Rex. You can see the nostrils sculpted out up there. Also those kind of small ridge-like crests for the Indominus. They look really good. Very nice paintwork to every area of the Indominus. You can see that we've got some nice dry brushing techniques, pretty much exactly as I would expect the Indominus to look, that have been applied to the figure. You also have a really nicely painted eye, extremely precise paintwork, nice black pupil as well. We have kind of like a red-orange for the eye, and then you can see all of the insanely nice looking teeth here for our Indominus. You can also see that they are nicely painted with kind of like a yellowish tone or like an off-white, and they all have that kind of interlocking appearance. And another thing that you do see on the Indominus, which I like that they've captured here, is you can kind of see like the reddish or like pinkish tones here running along the jaw line on both the upper and lower jaw, which again is exactly the way that the Indominus looks in Jurassic World. Now we do have an articulated jaw. It's a little hard to do this with one hand because I'm holding the dinosaur here with my left hand, but you can see that both the upper and lower jaw articulate so that we can get a nice gaping wide mouth open here. And you can see again that we've got some nice detailing here on the skin flap, nice gloss coat for the inside of the mouth as well, so it looks extremely realistic. And as I kind of try to turn it here so we can get a look, you can see what the inside of the mouth looks like. Look at that detailing in there. That is incredible. Really nice pinkish tones used, nice kind of reddish wash to highlight the detail. Look at the texturing on the tongue. That is phenomenal. You can see all the teeth again, how insanely beautiful they look, how they're all very erratic as far as the placement goes. Again, exactly as you see the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. And you can also see on the inside of the mouth, I love how they've even captured like those tiny small teeth on the inside of the mouth of the Indominus. Really nice, again, sculpting and paintwork for the inside of the mouth on the upper side. And yet again, everything sports a very, very nice gloss coat. And the jaw also works very nicely, perfectly, closes and opens and stays in wherever you would like it to, again, sit. You can see some more really nice detailing up here on the top of the head as we start to have kind of like some scoots running back here along the top of the head. But as you reach here into the neck, you start to get some quills picking up, and that's one thing that we know and love about our Indominus Rex is the fact that it has quills, and Edel has captured the quills here on their version. You can also see the scale detail continues to look incredible, and we are filled with tons of ridges and everything here. As you move back along the course of the Indominus, you have all sorts of kind of like osteoderm-like ridges all over the place here. More really nice scale detail. Again, all of it has been sculpted out and also painted very nicely, highlighted beautifully. You can even see like some slight pinkish tones right there, right behind the jaw. If we turn the head a little bit, you can get a better look at the detailing there in the neck. And as I try to position it again in a way that we're not going to knock anything over here to my left, you can see that as we reach down here into the body, you can make out the shoulder blade a little bit right there. Really, really nice looking. Beautiful muscle definition moving down the arm. And again, the paintwork continues to look really nice as we have those nice variations of like light yellows and greens and everything throughout. Again, giving it that picture perfect appearance as far as like the Indominus when it's somewhat camouflaged. And then as you continue to move down, yet again, we've got some more quills on the arm of the Indominus right here. And then you move down here into the hand sculpt, and the hand sculpt also looks beautiful. Really nice scoots down the fingers. The claws genuinely look sharp. They're painted with a nice black, and they also have a nice gloss coat on them, yet again, to make sure that they look very realistic, which I absolutely love. But the fingers and everything, they look great as far as the actual detailing. Beautiful scale detail running down the course of the hand as well. And then as we move back up here into the stomach region, you can see all sorts of osteoderms and stuff picking up here in the stomach region of the Indominus, as well as some more incredibly nice skin texture. You can also see another area of articulation here in the midsection of our Indominus. And then as you lead up, you can also see that the quills taper away, because once we reach here, the quills are gone on the Indominus. And again, the skin texture looks amazing. Those really nice ridges are painted beautifully, each and every one darkened very nicely. So a lot of really nice paintwork and time went into painting this out. And I know one thing that people will say often about the Edel Collectibles models is they'll like order one and then they'll be waiting a while before they actually ship. And honestly, when I look at this, I can see why it has to take forever to get one of these built and painted up and everything and looking perfect, because it really is a masterpiece, I must say. It takes me probably like a week or so, half the time, just to paint a figure in like 1/35th scale, and this thing is huge. But as you move down here, you can see again the nice muscle definition moving down the thigh. Again, incredible skin texture that's all highlighted beautifully with that nice dark dry brushing, which looks so nice here on the figure. And such a smooth transition from this darker coloration as we transition back to the lighter tones. They've done a great job of blending the coloration really nice and naturally. As you move down, you can see the kneecap right here in the front, also some kind of like creasing and wrinkling in the knee. You can also see some very nice muscle definition here in the calf. As you move down, you've got a beautiful foot sculpt with some nice scoots down the toes. Yet again, all the scale detail highlighted very nice and very realistically here in the toes. You've also got some nicely painted nails down here, yet again with the black. And if you look over there, you can see that we do have a dew claw present, and it is painted. As you move back up here, you can see a little bit more kind of wrinkling and stuff in the skin right there. Again, more incredible scale detail as we move out the length of the tail. You can also see that again we have some articulation in the tail. Actually, in the leg you have the hip, you also have the knee, and then you've got the ankle down here. So some very nice articulation through the leg, but as you come back here, you have a spot right here in the tail where it can articulate. And then you can see again the ridges running down the course of the Indominus is back here, but we have like 3 ridges here. We transition to 1 as the others are just kind of gone after that point, and then we reach another area of articulation here in the tail. And then as we move out a little bit further, you have another area of articulation out here as we reach the tip of the tail, but we continue to have those kind of ridges turning into like scoots running out the rest of the tail. As you move here along the underside, you can yet again see some more really nice paintwork. We have like a light yellow for the underside, but again that nice dry brushing has been applied perfectly to the underside of the Indominus, and you can see all of the detailing looks incredible the entire way through the underside as well, even reaching up here into the stomach region and the chest. Very large kind of, even though it kind of appears to almost be like a crocodilian-like scaling, it also kind of looks like it would potentially be somewhat rough looking and feeling if this were again a real animal here. And again, this is a fully articulated figure, so you're not really going to see much difference over here compared to what we had just seen on the initial side, simply because again, the figure is in a total neutral position. It's up to you to really articulate it and move it however you would like. But you can see again that the sculpting, the detailing, the paint, everything looks just as beautiful, just as precise over here as it did on the initial side. Really nicely painted eye over here as well. And then as you move back, you can see again a little bit more of that pinkish tone right there. And then some more insanely nice looking detailing and paintwork. As we continue to move through the Indominus, you've got the quills down here yet again on the arm on this side, that gorgeous hand sculpt, And everything, again, looks just as awesome over here as it did on the initial side. So definitely one of the coolest figures that I have ever purchased, and certainly worth the wait. So even though they do at times take a little while to get created and come in, man, I can tell you that I couldn't be happier to actually have this now here in my hands and in my collection. And if you are interested, make sure you stick around to the end of the video to find out how you might be able to get one of these for yourself. So as far as the articulation goes on our Indominus Rex, and we probably don't have the best angle because we're down a little bit lower than the Indominus, and also the light is a little bit bright on it currently. And I'm also a little bit further away than I'd like to be, but you can see that we have articulation right here, here, and here moving down the neck, as well as the upper and lower jaw. So you've got quite a few areas right there, again, to move the neck around and articulate it however you would like. As you move down, you have articulation here in the shoulder, as well as the elbow and the wrist, which it's trying to run away from me now, and you can't see that too well. As you move up, you also have the articulation here in the midsection. A little bit of wiggle room there in that midsection. Then you also have the articulation in the hip, as well as the knee, and again, the ankle. And if you actually watched my Pocket Sores review, it's the exact same articulation, I would say, pretty much as what you had seen on the Pocket Sores versions. And then you also, again, as I kick the camera, have the articulation here, here, and then one more part out here. So lots and lots of articulation for sure on this incredible Indominus Rex, but one thing I'm very intrigued by would be to find out the size, so let's go ahead and get a measurement. So even though you can no longer see the head because it's just so huge, for a length, you want to get out here to the tail, you were looking at about 29.5 inches or 75 centimeters, which is just crazy, crazy long. Again, I am not kidding you when I tell you this is a huge Indominus. And then for a height, I'm trying not to break my Sideshow Protoceratops and Velociraptor over here to my right, in the position that it's currently in, which I feel like is a fairly nice and natural position. Height-wise, you were looking at, if we go to the top of the Quills, I would say about roughly around 11.5 inches or about 29 centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. For a size comparison, here is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our massive 1/20th scale Indominus Rex. And this thing, again, is a beast. Absolutely huge and beyond impressive, and I really think you can definitely see that now next to these figures because they look so tiny in comparison. But for another comparison, here is the Mattel Indominus in front of the Edel Collectibles version, and you know, some aspects of the Mattel version looks a little bit bigger, like the head is a little bit larger, but I think that's just because the Edel version is much more screen accurate. But as far as the overall size goes, the Edel version definitely wins. It's much longer than the Mattel version and much more screen accurate as well. But of course, we're talking about a very high-end collectible articulated kind of a model next to a toy, so it's obviously something to be expected, but definitely a comparison that I was interested in seeing were these two next to each other. Then we have one of the extreme damage Tyrannosaurus Rex figures from Mattel next to our Indominus, and yet again, you can see that the Indominus is gigantic next to it, but for another comparison, we have the extreme damage Velociraptor and a Mattel Dilophosaurus here underneath the Indominus, and yet again, huge size difference. They don't even compete with each other. Of course, you wouldn't expect that for a raptor and a Dilophosaurus, but regardless, the Indominus, yet again, here is massive, and being 1/20th scale, it only makes sense that it would be. So this absolutely gorgeous Indominus Rex from Edel Collectibles is another amazing release from them, and one that I am so happy to enter into my collection. As time goes on, I'm trying to get all of their large theropods. It takes some time to do so, and definitely takes some saving up to do so, but we are getting there as we now have the Indominus Rex entering my collection. And I also have the Spinosaurus, the large 1/20th scale Spinosaurus, which I thought about bringing in for a comparison, but it's kind of buried on a shelf, and it would be a legitimate nightmare to have to pull it out because of the way that I have it displayed. But this Indominus, again, is everything that I expected and so much more. The sculpt is phenomenal. It has such a presence to it. Just the overall appearance to it is so impressive. Like, this would really capture the attention of anyone if they see it, and definitely would be the centerpiece of any shelf or collection in general. And that's just one of the many amazing redeeming factors of this Indominus, on top of just the overall, again, impressive appearance and the insanely impressive size. The actual sculpting is super nicely done, really high quality, and really vibrant on the sculpt. And then there's also a ton of fine detail throughout, which again must have taken Edel forever to sculpt out. So they absolutely have done a great job as far as the fine detail and the overall general appearance of the Indominus. On top of that, they've added a really nice paint scheme, which I am a big fan of. Originally, when I pulled it out, I was so surprised to see that it was a greenish tone rather than like the white and gray that you often see on Indominus. And then I realized that it's kind of like a moment of the Indominus sort of camouflaging, and then I realized how much more I liked it. That's such a super cool idea, and it honestly does look exactly as though the Indominus had just walked out of the trees and was like in mid-transition back to its normal color. So cool to see it looking like this as far as the coloration goes, and the actual paint application is extremely nicely applied, really precise overall, and very high quality. And then you also have articulation on top of everything, and that seems to be one of the most popular things nowadays is articulated dinosaurs, and I can say the articulation on this is quite beautiful, as we have tons of it all over the figure, and it all seems to work pretty nicely as a whole, which makes the figure even cooler in my opinion. So now, as I had said earlier, if you are interested in potentially getting a hold of these, there's two things you can do. One, well, I guess three, actually, because you can purchase them, I believe, on their Patreon. But currently, I believe they just added them, actually, to their Kickstarter for the Pocketsaurus. They only a limited amount, a very small amount, were added of each of their 1/20th scale, I think, figures that were a little bit cheaper than you would get through the Patreon. So you can head over to their Kickstarter, and you can back one and get yourself an Indominus that way. Or you can go ahead and back anything on the Kickstarter, because they had actually sent me an extra Indominus Rex when they were getting ready to ship my order. They had asked me if I would be interested in doing a giveaway as a thank you to the people who had backed the Kickstarter, and they sent me an extra of the 1/20th scale Indominus Rex for me to give away here on my channel. So if you are one of the lucky people who had gone ahead and backed the Kickstarter, all you really need to do is show me some evidence, of course, if I pick you, but you also have to subscribe to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. You have to like Edel Collectibles, well, like and follow Edel Collectibles on Instagram, back the Kickstarter again, which if you have done that, you're almost there, and then you just need to share the Kickstarter somewhere, and that's really about it. And then, of course, down in the comments section, let me know that you have done those things, and you're automatically entered to win a 1/20th scale incredible Edel Collectibles Indominus Rex. So make sure you do all of those things. I will include a link in the description to the Kickstarter for the Pocketsaurs, so you can head on over there and, back some of their stuff. Hopefully the Kickstarter pulls through, because I would love to get some of those Pocketsaurs after I reviewed them. I'm just totally in love with them, and now I have to send them back, which is very sad. So hopefully the Kickstarter actually succeeds, so I can get some in my collection at some point, and again, add them to my growing Edel Collectibles collection. So make sure you do all of that stuff, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.